Judge Penny Wolfgang. Welcome back to The Big Picture. Recently, the Western New York Healthcare Heroes and Nurses Night was held at the M Hotel in Cheektowaga. Hundreds gathered to recognize the people who give their all every day to help others in our hometown. We'll hear from them in a future edition of our program. In addition to members of the healthcare community, two other guests were in attendance: author Scott Petoniak and the voice of the Bills, Hall of Fame broadcaster John Murphy. They have written a new book together titled If These Walls Could Talk: Stories from the Buffalo Bills Sideline, Locker Room, and Press Box. Unfortunately, John was sidelined this season as he recovers from a stroke he suffered New Year's Eve 2022. But we're happy to report he is feeling better, and we caught up with him at the event.
Snap. Tyrod looks, takes a long look. Now he's going to run. Tyrod on the run at the 15-10. Nobody in front of him, into the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown, Tyrod Taylor! A 20-yard scramble for the Buffalo touchdown.
Okay. Hey, John, thank you so much for talking to us. We are so happy to see you. First of all, how are you feeling?
I feel great. I I can't do is talk well, but I feel great.
Okay. Now, we want to know how you came up with the idea for writing this book and how long it took you.
Scott came up with the idea, and it took us, most last year, most of 2022, we'd meet once a week, and we'd sit and I'd tell stories, and Scott turned on his tape recorder, and a book came out.
And was it fun for you talking to John?
Yeah, John's career and my career in terms of covering the Bills kind of parallel each other. Like John starts with Van Miller as his sidekick in 1984. 1985, I started covering the team for the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle and USA Today. So we've known each other all that time. And so we'd be sitting down for these sessions and stuff, and we'd like be sharing these stories, be like going down memory lane, like you're reminiscing about this player or this coach or this game or whatever. So it was a lot of fun, and it gave me a chance to reconnect with John and stuff. So this was one of the most fun assignments I've had in a long, long time.
And what was your favorite, if you can pick a favorite? It's like you're picking your favorite child, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking as I'm saying that, he's not going to like this question, but, well, what are some of your favorite stories in the book?
There's great stories about the 1980s Bills and the Super Bowl Bills, obviously, but even before that, early 80s, 83, 84, great teams, great characters, Jim Hassett, Fred Smirlis, great stories about those guys in the book. I really like that.
I noticed at the very beginning, it's sort of like working backwards, and I was looking at the book. You start out with Josh Allen. Tell me and us what you think like his future is.
Oh, he's extremely bright. He's a talented guy. He's getting better and better. He's got an awful lot on his plate now, and he struggles with that a little bit, but his future is extremely bright. He's good for another 10 years at least in Buffalo.
Scott, you've been through and seen so much. How did you decide when you write the book, of all the stories that John had, how'd you pick and choose what to use?
Well, it's difficult. I mean, we left a lot of stories out of the book. I mean, the book could have been probably another 50 pages long or whatever. But, I told John early on, like when you start to do these types of books and, I go back and I transcribe our sessions and stuff, like themes start to come through. And the one thing that it really struck me about this was, John is Buffalo through and through. He's a Lockport kid and stuff, and he's loved the Bills. His very first game happens to be, in War Memorial Stadium. It's the AFL Championship game, January 1st, 1967. It's the first game in person for him. They're one game away from going to the very first Super Bowl against Vince Lombardi and the Green Bay Packers. And they break your heart. They lose 31-7. They were favored in that game. They're at home, and John's like, so when that happened, I go, well, this is the starting point for the introduction here to go from that. But, yeah, I wanted that theme. I told him, I go, this theme that, you are Buffalo through and through, unlike an announcer who maybe came from another town. You grew up with this. You know what it means to be not only a Bills fan, which means heartbreak and along the way and so forth, but also to be a Buffalonian and to have to, we take a lot of, a lot of crap in Western New York from people who've never been here. and we know it's a great, great place. You know, we know what it is and stuff. And so you kind of develop a thick skin, you know, and it's kind of who we are. We're resilient people. And those were themes that we wanted to hit upon throughout the book.
What was it like during those Super Bowl years?
It was hectic. That's all I remember. It was just, by the time you go to the Super Bowl, you're exhausted. You don't have time to process what's happened. You just keep going. And for 3 years, which was incredible. So it's just hectic. It's just running around. And I look back at it and I think of all the missed opportunities I had to do good stories. But you do what you can, you know.
Are we going to see you and hear you soon back on the air?
I hope so. I hope so. You know, I go to all the home games, go to practice once a week, trying to keep my options open. So I hope I can.
So do we.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for writing this book and for helping and talking to us here on WBBZ.
Well, thank you. Thanks so much for having us.
10 at the 15 at the 20. Here goes Spiller at the 40 at midfield. CJ, no one will catch him. No one will catch him. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown! Touchdown! CJ Spiller, 102-yard kickoff return.
You can get your copy of the Buffalo Bills book John and Scott wrote, If These Walls Could Talk, Stories from the Buffalo Bills Sideline, Locker Room, and Press Box at area bookstores and online at Amazon.com. We also want to remind you about a special Stand Up for Israel concert event, Tuesday, October 24th, starting at 7 p.m. at the Congregation Share Shalom, 4660 Sheridan Drive in Williamsville, featuring musician Ken Kaufman, cantor Arlene Frank, vocalist Jay Dreff, and cellist Roman McKenelov. Proceeds will benefit the Israeli Red Cross. I'm Judge Penny Wolfgang. Thanks for watching this edition of The Big Picture. Remember to like WBBZ on Facebook and join the conversation on Twitter. I'll see you next week. And go Bills!